Hello and welcome. In this video, I'm going to show you how to add student quiz accommodations to your OnQ course. First, you need to get a list of the accommodations your students are entitled to. You can get this information from Ventus, Queen's accommodation platform at ventus.queensu.ca. We won't go over how to use Ventus in this video, but there are resources on the Ventus support website to assist you in finding your student accommodations. Accommodations for quizzes or tests are called assessment accommodations on Ventus. There are 3 accommodations that can be added to OnQ quizzes: extra time, adjusted start or end times, and number of attempts. For any extra time accommodations, we add them through the class list on OnQ. This will apply them automatically to every OnQ quiz the student writes. For either of the other types of accommodations, we must add them to each quiz individually. Let's start with the extra time accommodations from the class list. Head over to your OnQ course and from the home page, click on the Communications drop-down and select Class List. On this page, you'll see a list of all students, staff, and TAs in your course. They're sorted alphabetically by last name. You'll have to go through the students with extra time one by one, following these steps for each one. Click on the drop-down beside their name and then click Edit Accommodations. This will bring up a new window with options for modifying the amount of time the student receives for quizzes. There are 2 ways this can be done, either by multiplying the regularly given amount of time or by adding a fixed additional amount of time for this student. The option you select will depend on the student's accommodations. However, we mostly use multipliers. If the student's accommodation is, for example, an extra 15 minutes on the hour or something similar, we're going to use the multiplier option. For this specific amount of time, we'll input 1.25, since 75 minutes divided by 60 minutes is 1.25. If their accommodation was 30 minutes on the hour, then we'd input 1.5. For double time, their multiplier will be 2. The extra time option would be used if a student's accommodation is something similar to always receiving only 5 extra minutes, regardless of the duration of the assessment. Then, you can put in the number of minutes they are entitled to, and they will always just get that many minutes extra. Once you've entered the correct value, go down and hit the Save button in the bottom left of this window. This student will now have the accommodation applied to all of their online quizzes, and you'll see the icon beside their name in the class list indicating that they have a general quiz accommodation. Repeat this process for all students who have an extra time accommodation. Though it will take some time to set up, you only have to go through this process once for the entirety of the term. For the other accommodation options on OnQ, either additional attempts or adjusted start and end times, we have to go edit the quizzes themselves. To do this, go to the top nav bar, click the Assessments drop-down, and then click Quizzes. This brings you to the Quizzes page, where you see all quizzes you've made for the course. If you haven't made any yet, go ahead and create your first quiz now using the New Quiz button in the top left. There are additional videos on the OnQ support site that can walk you through building a quiz. We'll have to go through each quiz, but let's start with the first one. Click the drop-down beside its name and select Edit. From the Edit page, go to the Restrictions tab at the top and scroll all the way to the bottom of the page. Here you will see the Special Access header. OnQ calls specific accommodations for quizzes and assignments special access because students who have accommodations get different access than other students. To add a student to the Special Access list, click the Add Users to Special Access button. On this page, you can change a variety of options for the students, depending on the accommodations they receive. If a student's accommodation says that they must write in the morning, only on specific days of the week, or something similar, you can change the start and end date and times. The time limit of the quiz can also be altered here, although this should be done through the class list so that it applies to all quizzes. Finally, the number of attempts allowed can also be increased. Customize these options to suit your students' needs. When adding special access for students, it's most efficient to group students with the same accommodations together. At the bottom of the page, you should select all students in your class who have the same accommodations as you configured above. Once you've selected all applicable students, click the Add Special Access button at the bottom of the page. This will take you back to the quiz restrictions page. Continue doing this for all the different accommodations in your class, always ticking off all students who have the same collections of accommodations. When you've made all your special access groups, click the Save and Close button at the bottom of the quiz restrictions page. This quiz will now be properly set up. Do this for all quizzes in the course, and then you will be ready to go with your accommodations all set up for quizzes.